live once again, bro. We started this podcast, 5 weeks ago, man?
5 weeks ago. We're on episode 6, man. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Foxing Around podcast. I'm your host, Raymond Fox.
And I'm your co-host, River Thomas.
Hey, and we got an episode for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God. This is going to be huge. We got Mr. Adam Beach coming through, obviously. We're super excited. We're going to get to him in a few short minutes. First things first, what we'd like to do is we'd like to give some prayers and our thoughts to Fred Sasakamoose and the Sasakamoose family. Fred, if you guys don't know, is the first ever Indigenous hockey player in the NHL. He's an inspiration to many. He's an elder. He's a family man. He's a great inspiration to everybody. And he's battling COVID right now, so our thoughts and prayers go to him and his family. I already saw some pictures on the Freddie Sasakamoose page. He's looking healthy. He's looking in good spirits. So our prayers are off to you, Mr. Sasakamoose.
Yeah, for real. And everybody at home, I guess before you go to bed, just say a quick prayer for your Freddie Sasakamoose, your loved ones, and everybody that is battling in the middle of this pandemic right now.
Yeah, it's rough. It's scary. Please take it seriously. Please practice your social distancing. Please keep 6 feet apart. Do everything you need to do to curb the virus that we're facing. So.
Yeah, and wear a mask even if it stinks.
Yeah, even if it stinks. Come on. Next thing, hey, we got merch coming. We've got merch, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be dropping our merch probably sometime this week. We got shirts ready for everybody that wants to purchase one in time for Christmas. So if you're looking to get a Foxing Around shirt, man, we got you covered. So we'll release a little bit more details as it comes.
Yeah, man, for real. Cannot wait for a new merch, bro. It's going to be dope. Even I'm actually thinking of looking for a denim coat too, just to get our Foxing Around patch or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. So first things first, you guys are probably all wondering how we did it. How did we get Mr. Adam Beach to come on our show, man? I'll tell you what. My sister sent him a message because she believed in us. She believed what we were doing here, and she believed that Foxing Around was meaningful and it was something that we should be proud of. So she messaged Adam Beach and told us a little bit about Foxing Around and who we are. And 20 minutes later, I got a phone call from Mr. Adam Beach. It was the most humbling experience I've ever had in my life. I talked over him. I didn't know how to talk. I cut him off. I just couldn't speak at all, man. It was the craziest. It was the craziest few minutes of my life speaking to Adam Beach. But he was so excited to come on. He gave us some good love, and he believed in us. He believed in what we were doing, man. And that was so special from somebody of his stature to believe in us enough to come on and share some stories and share his time. So I want to give a quick shout out to my sister, Cherish Fox, for believing in us here at Foxing Around. You don't know how much it means to us. I got a phone call from Adam Beach, man. That was just by my sister believing in what we did, and we've got him here today, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I think he's about ready, man.
Yeah, for real. We love you, Cherish, man. Thanks for this. Let's get going. Let's go. Everybody's here for this man, the most handsome man in Indian country.
Ladies and gentlemen,
years running,
Mr. Adam Beach.
What's up, dudes?
Hey.
What's going on, man? How you doing, Adam?
So who's the teacher and who's the volleyball player?
So I'm in education right now, trying to be a teacher, and I'm a soccer player.
Yeah, and I'm at Olds College right now. I'm taking surface land management, and I'm playing volleyball.
It's a big-time volleyball. It's not no little community.
Yeah. The thing with volleyball is it's one of those team sports where you can't just have one good person and the game is good. Like everybody has to be good and everybody has to be working like a well-oiled machine in order to have a really good game. You know what I mean? Like opposed to basketball where you could have one star player who drops like 50 and you win. Volleyball is like a very cohesive sport.
Have you seen the Netflix show Haikyuu?
Bro, I love Haikyuu. I love Haikyuu. Man, I'm not even kidding. I watch anime, and like that's something that a lot of people don't know about me. Is like I watch anime, and that's dope, man. You watch anime. Adam Beach watches anime.
Well, I don't have a job. That's why.
So how's that been? You know, like navigating COVID. Obviously, I don't think you're in Hollywood anymore. Like, how has it been since you've moved back, and what's it been like since you moved back?
Well, we moved out of Hollywood for here because of COVID. It was getting crazy, and they were locking the Canadian border and for travelers. So we wanted to get ahead before, everybody gets a lockdown. And like right now, they shut the borders till December 12th, I think. And Vancouver is a good hub for making movies. Right now, it's number one for making movies. So I'm glad I made the move down here. And yeah, it looks. I'm just glad that we're safe. And right now, I wear 2 masks because it's getting the high season since it's wintertime.
Yeah, for sure. And isn't Vancouver? That's like the number one city where a lot of films are made, right? I think the a lot of the Marvel movies are filmed in Vancouver, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people go through here. It's pretty crazy. They have a lot of studios, but it's the work ethic. It's like the people here, Canadian workers. They're pretty kick-ass, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I want you to take us back a little bit, man. Obviously, I think everyone knows you, but take us back a little bit because you faced some pretty insurmountable odds to kind of get where you are today. What was it like growing up? Where did you grow up? How did you grow up? What was that process like?
Wow, for me, growing up was it was how do I say it? My life really started when I was 8 years old because my parents died at that time, and because of the trauma, it kind of erased a lot of my upbringing growing up. But I remember kind of ins and outs of living and growing up as a kid with my parents. But after they passed away, that's when I kind of had to learn to navigate myself, find out who I was, and I ran away from home at 14, lived on my own, went back home, then ran away again at 16, then went back home and joined gangs or a gang. And it wasn't until I started acting in high school that I really found something that I really wanted to do. And nobody was going to take that away from me because I enjoyed it. And I had to go through a lot of the being laughed at or people trying to pull you down like, oh, you'll never make it. When are you going to quit? And I never saw any of that because it's something that I am going to do for my whole life. I don't find myself slowing down at any age. And finally, I reached a point where everybody, my family and my friends, realized that, Adam has achieved the success that he wanted to do, and there's nothing we could do about it. And when you get to that place, that's when you really, really find a love for what you're doing, but also for who you are and the world you get to see. Like I've been to a lot of places, and it really, I get a lot of education from other people. Like my wife will teach me a lot of her stuff because she's a clinical psychologist. So she reminds me how much that I have to grow. And sometimes I just don't want to grow because I just want to be me at this moment and enjoy how far I've become. And then there'll always be something that triggers the next step and the next venture, and you just grow. I'm open to learning more and more. I try not to close myself off.
Yeah. And how is it, I guess, like facing the ridicule, especially like back then, right? Just like when you're trying to pursue this dream and like in acting and just like that whole dynamic. I noticed that even like personally, there weren't always like support systems or people who would try to like clown on you for trying new things like modeling and acting. Like, how did you maneuver all that at such a young age too?
The Man, there's no matter what you do, you will always face um, the gravitational pull to stop you, whether it's from friends or family or the people in the workplace who don't want to have you a part of their system. That is always happening no matter what level you are at. So if you consider me, who's climbed this mountain to a certain level, and now I want to go to the next stage or I want to do certain films, the people in charge aren't going to always hire me because they want somebody else. So I'm always facing, the potential, I guess, of who I can be. So, it's like when I do films, I just don't want to do what I've done before. So I will say no, or I'll pass on a lot of the films because I've done it. I want something new. And then when you see me in something new, it's enjoyable because it's something that I wanted to be a part of. And there's a joke going around like, why is Adam dying so much in his movies? And for me, and it's these two comic movies that I did, the New Mutants and Suicide Squad. Now, they called me up and I could not say no because I'm a comic book fan. And plus, being a part of this genre is something new to our native viewers. So for me to have 1 second is so important for any children holding a Iron Man or a Batman or something in their hand, seeing a native man being on that screen. So for me, it's an enjoyment on many levels. And then I'm shooting this new film here. And when people see that, that'll be another unique point of view. And people will be like, wow, how did he pull that off? And it's, sometimes I get lucky and sometimes people want to work with me. I just, I feel accomplished in different ways.
Right, for sure. One thing I personally enjoy watching, I always come back to. It's a staple of Indigenous culture, I believe. It's a staple of who we are as Indian people, and that's smoke signals. That's something that's important to us as a culture. It's important to us as a peoples. What was that like?
You guys there? I think my phone is gonna die. Shoot.
Hey, we're back.
We're back.
What happened? Weird. Sorry, continue your question.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
I have to charge my phone. Hold on a sec, dude. Hold on.
Hey, take your time.
Beach uses a charger?
Yeah, right? I thought he just had like a phone that stayed charged.
Yeah. Never needs a charger.
All right, hold on, guys.
No, it's all good. It's all
Take
good.
your time, Mr. Beach.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
Hey.
we're not going anywhere.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you
for
good.
sure.
Okay, I'm not using my headphones, so I'm staying charged.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, go on. What was the next question?
I was just talking a little bit about smoke signals, about how it's kind of like a staple in the Indigenous community, is something that I feel strongly when I watch as an Indigenous person. Like it gives me that sense of pride, of culture, of richness as an Indigenous person, because it was an all Indigenous movie and it reached the heights that it did. When you first made it, did you know that was going to be the case, or was it how did the filmmaking process go, and then kind of moving forward to now when you look back on it?
Well, how that film came about was I got a call about a script reading that was going to happen in New York, I believe, or was it? Yeah, it was in New York, and they said that they asked if I could read for this character, Victor. And I said, sure, why not? Free trip to New York. It should be fun. And when I got there, After we did the reading, they offered me the role to play Victor because I guess they thought I was best for it. So I basically was like, yeah, I'd love to do it. And when we were embarking on this movie, uh, one, it was all native um, cast. It was directed, produced, written by, like, it was kind of a first of its kind. And when we were doing the film, it touched on subjects that a lot of us haven't really been um, haven't been looked into as a film relating to who we are as a people. There's comedy, there's drama, and I find that we as Native people have both of those, and we manage our lives through trauma and humor to
Mhm.
make things, better in our lives. And when we did this movie, I think it was ahead of its time because when you watch it now and what we're dealing with as a culture and as First Nations, we kind of see that there was a lot to be said in this film that strayed away from the Cowboys and Indians theme. And we are now trying to create films that have that same impact and that cultural identity, but also that individual lifestyle on a res dealing with those emotions. And I'm hoping that our young filmmakers will accomplish a film as great as Smoke Signals because right now it's kind of like the staple of who we are, and any film I do has never surpassed its cultural significance. Everybody says, "Hey, Victor, what about your dad?" And I'm always saying, "Shut up, Thomas, or I'll beat you up again."
Yeah, and
Uh,
it was like it was such a staple too because like as you're saying that was one of the first movies where indigenous people were just able to be themselves, right? They weren't playing up to a role. They weren't playing up to, hey, like, you're indigenous, this is how you have to act. It literally just felt like another movie where you were just being yourself. And like it's easily like the most quotable movie to this day. Like, and like my children are gonna watch it and my grandchildren are gonna watch it.
yep.
It's like such a good movie.
Well, when you watch the movie, you realize the writing and the directing is incredible because when you create a character, you have to define who that person is and what he's going to be going through. Now, when they casted me in that role, a lot of people that I was working with didn't realize Victor was Adam Beach as a child. That's who I was because my parents died when I was 8 years old. So um, I always had this imagination to want to connect with them, or I always blamed stuff because it was their fault that they died and I don't have guidance. So here I was doing this movie, and every day I was going through my own memories and dealing with the issues I have with my mother and father. And when people would be like, seeing me on set, just standing there in some weird thought, and they'd be like, "You okay?" "Oh, I'm just getting in character." When I was dealing with my personal emotions of like, "Oh my God, this is how I feel about my father." Like, where the fuck are you? Or my mom, where are you? I need you. What's going on? So all of these emotions kept popping up. It was like therapy for me doing that movie. So when we did the scene at the end of the movie where I threw the ashes of my father in the water, like that's Adam wanting to do the exact same thing and being connected and letting go and forgiving and starting over. And when I did that scene, I was so angry and so upset that I just fell to the ground and I started crying and I did a fetal pose and I was just like a baby again. And they couldn't stop me from crying, and they were like, "Adam, you okay? You okay?" And I was like, "I miss my dad, I miss my mom, please someone help me, I just need to hear their," like I was gone, dude. And then snapped out of it, and then I had to do it again. And this time it wasn't so much anger, it was more like forgiveness and sorrow. And I fell down again, but I was, kind of knowing what I was going through. And then I couldn't do another take after that. I just walked off the set. I said, I'm done. I have to leave, because it was so much of a personal growth for me that after that movie, I realized that you have to walk a certain truth and honesty as a character in a movie. And you have to be personally connected to it somehow for it to work. And those words coming out have to define that character from that writer's perspective. And after that, I was bound for this whole new world. It's like I woke up, and I'm still trying to be the best, connect with my characters as I would connect with myself as Adam. There's so much in that movie. It's crazy.
Right, right. I can see too that you did connect in a different way. Like we just said, it didn't feel like you were playing a character. It felt like you were playing your. Everyone in that movie, like more so, everyone was playing themselves. They were telling the story of themselves, wrapped along in the bigger picture of the movie. So it's very humbling to watch. And like I said, it's a cult classic. Everyone loves it. We still watch it to this day. It was special. I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about, because you said after that you started to connect to the roles a little bit more, and you started to believe in them, and you had to tell your truths to them. When you get into roles like in Wind Talkers and in Flags of Our Fathers with Ira Hayes, how do you connect to those Indigenous communities? Like, I know both of them being Navajo as well too, but just as Indigenous people that are fighting for the American people. How does that situation kind of go into you learnings?
The first thing, like when people were wondering about my approach with can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Hunter, you sound beautiful, man.
Okay, dude. When I was doing the movie Wind Talkers, a lot of the stuff I do is out of respect for our people. So when they were trying to reach out to me to say, will you come and audition for this film? I told them that they have to go to the Navajo Nation and ask permission for me to play them, because it's such a significant cultural component to who they are as a nation. And if they say yes, then I'll do your movie. And for them, to hear that I have so much respect for them, that was kind of a realization that when you do a Native film, you better know who you're dealing with as a culture and as a people, because we're all different. We all come from a different place. Sure, we have a shared resemblance of culture and teaching and traditions, but at its core, the language is a whole nother deal. Not just, the identity of being in the war and helping win the war through our language. There's so much detail that needed to be done. And when I was, I got a lot of respect for that choice of making them go ask permission. And when I started that film, I realized the Navajo language is so difficult that I had to break down. It's like the code. When you do the code, there's 5, say you're doing the letter A in the code. There's 5 words that start with the letter A that you're supposed to use in the code. And because my language diction for the language wasn't that great, I was able to only choose one. And that letter is Willachi, which is ant. And I wish I could do the other 4, but they all switched with those letters. And then we were doing a scene where I had to speak the language, and it took time and I was able to do it. But then we realized, look, if we're going to make this flow better, let's have Adam's character be more integrated in outside of the Navajo culture, and that he wants to be more learning more about the America and the world, not just Navajo Nation. So he's more of an English talker and not a traditional speaker. And then the other character, Roger Willie, would be the Navajo linguistic guy. So he would speak most of the language. Like there's a lot that we're doing. And Roger came up with that idea because he found that I was having so much difficulty with the words, and what he offered made everything better, and it flowed better, and I felt like I was honest in what I was doing, you know?
Yeah, and how was it? I guess just like preparing for war movies, because I now I know nowadays a lot of actors, they go through like intense training, like sometimes even like a mock BMQ, which is like a basic military qualification. Some like they go through that, right? And like, how was it for you playing in the numerous war movies that you were a part of?
Well, when I did Windtalkers, that was the first and only time I did a mock training of being in the 1940s era. And for a week, we were isolated at a military barracks, and we had to learn how to speak the way they did in the 40s. We couldn't speak to our family members. We had to live and sleep as military back in the day. And they would teach us how to use the weapons, teach us how to eat, exercise. We're up at 5 a.m. every day, nonstop. And for the first 3 days, it was so hard and so horrible because, you know, it's something that you're not used to. But after that third day, you wake up and realize the importance of every minute and every hour of the day is, and you just become self-aware that you are with other people trying to do the best that you can be. It was an amazing experience. And there was the third day when I was feeling down, they could tell that I was missing my children and my wife at the time. And so they created a mock post office, and they said, Adam, a letter is here for you, come and pick it up. And my family wrote a letter to me. It was so amazing, dude. Oh my God. I was like, this is so crazy. And then the last day, we all had a mock fight with Japanese, the military that were also training there. And it was just this chaotic nighttime fight. Pop, 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 pop. It was insane. But because I went through that when I did Flags of Our Fathers with Clint Eastwood, I was not invited to do any training because I was so-called the veteran of the era, so I didn't have to do it, you know, when I came and showed up. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Where did that training take place?
In Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Dang. So a little bit about the Flags of Our Fathers. Ira Hayes is a very prominent figure in the Indigenous community. He's somebody that battled, obviously, alcoholism, substance abuse. He had a lot of issues before and after the war. Was that a really hard part for you to get involved in and to kind of get your mind into the thinking of Ira Hayes and who he was as a person? Because also you just said as well, too, you had kind of grown up around some of the same sort of issues. Was it tough?
Well, when I talk to people about portraying certain characters, like when people say, well, Ira was an alcoholic, and I said, well, I was born a child of an alcoholic, so whatever I do growing up, I will have those traits from my father and my mother, that learning behavior. I just have to unlearn it when I get older. So for me, adapting into Ira Hayes's portrayal of him using alcohol as a way to get his PTSD down and not go crazy, I found that it was nurturing for him, and it was almost like a medicinal effort for him to soothe those emotions. And that's why when I was playing the character and I would bring up the aspect of losing my friends in the war, you could see how much pain I have, because that's what I see every day as Ira Hayes, is the death of my friends dying in front of me, the death of war. How do you stop that pain from blowing up in your brain over and over again? And when you look at his life and what he did and how kind he was, I think he did pretty good with what he had to deal with. And the heroism that he was a part of and the respect that people had for him was so great. And that's why for me, walking into that role, I had to find myself a comfortable place to feel that pain every fucking day. And how do you do that? You just have to know that one of the days you're going to wake up with the dreams of death in some way. At that time, there were times where I'd wake up crying and realizing that there's too much death around me. I hate this, but I have to go forward the next day. That's the depth that some people can go with our acting. And when you enter these realms, you realize I'm sitting in a king-size bed in a wonderful fucking hotel portraying somebody, and I'm having dreams of death and I'm crying. Like, that is 1% of what these guys had to go through. And they still go through it today with that PTSD and the war wounds. Like, I should have enough to finish this movie. So that's the amount of respect that I carried to the table when I would work. And when we were doing some scenes that I had to incorporate, my slurring or my kind of drunken behavior, that's how I showed up on set when I was ready to go. And I was sitting with a table of extras, and I'd be like sitting there kind of just, are we starting this yet? Hey, do I know you? No, I don't know you. Hey, can we get a drink in here? Something, just a little. Yeah, just don't tell them. Just bring me something. Okay. Yeah. So I'd play this guy, and everybody thought I was weird. Like, what the fuck's wrong with him? And there was another scene where we had to be in a stadium, and I had to play this drunken Ira. And what I did was I decided to take him to a sloppy level of where he was completely gone completely. And the actors were wondering, like, what is Adam doing? This is what I heard later on that day, because it looked stupid. And they didn't say it in a bad way. They just said it looks too cartoony, But that cartoony is what I remember with my family when I'd see my aunts and uncles, and especially my father. Like, that's some of the images I see of that cartoony drunk when he'd come home and pretend he's Bruce Lee and try to fake kick me in the head and actually kick a hole in the wall, So to me, those images are real. That's what I grew up in. And then when you see in Flags of Our Fathers, I'm walking down the road to go pay respects to one of the military guys. And that day, when people see that image, they're like, oh my God, what the hell is that? I was radiating this immense kind of trauma. And a lot of people don't know, when you see that image on the highway, and I'm doing that scene in the movie, that's the day my grandma died. So you could see and feel exactly what I was going through on that day. And that day, I told Clint, I said, he looked at me and he goes, you okay? And I said, my grandma just died. So I'm kind of having to deal with that. He's like, do you want to stop? We could do this tomorrow. You could take a break. And I said, no, I'll deal with it when we're done. And he said, okay. And that is the amount of conviction that I have for what I do. And if something is flowing through me that day, I use it for what I'm doing in the film. And I believe a lot of people should look at themselves truly to define who they are, and look at all the trauma and understand most of what we carry is from the people we look up to, mother, fathers, uncles, and aunts. And we have to sift through those and find out, okay, who and where am I out of all these people? Because I'm like my uncle, I'm like my brothers, I'm like my cousins, I'm like my father, I'm like my mother, but who the fuck am I? And that's who I've been searching for. And I still continue this day. Who is Adam Beach? Well, okay, let's find out, you know? So I'm finding all of these solutions in the characters that I find, but I just want the truth. I want someone to look and see and relate and understand that, you know, people ahead of us have been through so much worse that we can make it the next day. And the war films, I want people to know that we as Native people, without our help, you wouldn't be where you are today, you know? And if we can get that across to people, then, you know, we're good. But if our own people know how important we are and how America and Canada has come to fruition, if we can acknowledge how great we are in helping that, then that's a start.
Yeah, and to me, it seems like you use acting as like your form of medicine. That's kind of, it seems like how you do, like your form of healing, your
Yeah.
form of medicine. It seems like it comes through all these roles that you do. And
Well,
go ahead, sorry.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and like, so is that kind of like why you feel the need to always do a different role, is because you want to find more out about yourself, or like you want to like connect more to engage? Is that kind of why you always search for new roles? Because like everything you've been in so far, you've killed it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, dude. What I find is that a lot of the projects that come out have a theme, cowboys and Indians. And when you look at the theme cowboys and Indians, it's in all films around the world. There is a respect, but there's also a romanticism of Native people. And if you could find the respect in that romanticism on film, on a script, or in a script, that's what I'm looking for. Because all I see right now is people trying to downgrade us or trying to manipulate us in their way of seeing who we are. The drunk, the trauma, the two-bit hustler, the buckets in the crab, or crab in the bucket pulling you down. Or the worst part is that they would take our culture and manipulate it to theirs and to say that it means nothing. So if you have a native person on camera saying, I don't believe in our culture, that is the worst fucking thing you could write for us to watch and see, is an Indian saying that. And it's been done before. It's been shown where we were disrespecting our own culture and our own elders. And, you know, it's like, that's not who I am, and I won't even go there. So people will write that fantasy. You know, they'll go into the rape fantasy. They'll go into the poor fantasy. They'll go into the lost fantasy. They'll go into all these other aspects because that's what they see. And for us, we're all of it, yes. But you will never see anybody disrespect us as an Indian, as a native person. So if I'm walking the street and I see someone who's homeless and they're native, I'm like, hey, bro, how's it going, man? Hey, doing good. You doing good? Yeah, have a great day. Like, that's something we're good at. We acknowledge the human being. We don't acknowledge the effect that's happening to that human being. You know, there's a certain respect we carry, and we have to pursue that and see it on screen. You know, I just, you know, it is what it is.
For sure, for sure. Speaking about that, when you're doing the Charles Eastman role for the Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, that film, I believe that was something that I believe you did get an Oscar nomination for it.
Golden Globe.
Golden Globe. You
Golden
should have won
Globe,
it.
Raymond.
You should have
Come
won
on.
it because that portrayal was so wild. It was, you were playing two roles in one as the character. Like, you're an Indian man, but you're also sophisticated. You're also going through the residential schools. You're going through all the trials and tribulations of the everyday Indian. And then you come to the settlement and you're trying to save the people. But you're also in conflict with yourself. How does that kind of play into, because we're getting a picture that you take on these roles in a different way as Adam. So what was that process like as well too? Because for me that was hard to watch in certain senses, because I felt for you. I felt for you as a character and as a person when you're having to portray that on screen.
Okay, well, there's a whole dynamic that goes with that film, and I'll start from how it started.
Okay.
I got a call to have a meeting with the director and talk about this film. And when I went into the meeting to talk about it, they wanted me to audition on tape. And I basically told them, it's like, I need time to audition. But you know, let me look at it and I'll see what I could do. So when I looked at the paper, there's a lot of words. And I took one of the scene and I said, I'll do this one because there's not a lot of words. You know, I could easily do this. And they were like, well, you know, just do the other one too. We just want to hear your voice. Like, just read it. And I was so offended that they were saying that I stepped back and I said, you know what? I said, what did I say? Almost like I take pride in what I do, you know? So right now, you guys are disrespecting me as an actor, because no matter what I do in this room right now, it's going to be half-assed, and I don't want to look like that on screen. So whatever you guys are doing, you do it. I'm out of here. Go find another Indian. And I left. And they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I said, no, I'm done. So I left. I called my manager and I said, I told him what happened, and he apologized. And then weeks later, they called and they're like, hey, Adam, we would like you to take your time and do an audition for us. And I just told my manager, I said, they have to pay what I want before I go do that. And then I'll go in there. But other than that, forget it. And it's not saying that I'm worth more or denying something. I just knew that they were in a romanticism. They were into their own. Does he sound Indian? How does, you know what I mean? I wanted to put back into place the respect that they should have for us. And they were great people we're working with, but I don't think they really dealt with someone like myself who has a lot of conviction to who we are as a people. Now, when they said that I got the part and I went to do the movie, they were introduced to someone like myself who was working pretty hard to come across with this character. So I had to learn how to talk an English accent. It's terrible learning how to have proper diction, using your tongue, rolling the R's, and it's like, it's terrible. And the one thing I learned from that movie was I was working with Eddie Spears. He played one of the actors, and we were. It was like one of the first weeks of filming, and he was at the bedside watching his son die, and he was crying, and I was there as the doctor, and then all of a sudden, Eddie just says, "I gotta leave," and he left, crying, and I was like, okay, something's wrong. So I went to see Eddie Spears, and Eddie Spears, he's a Lakota. That's his people, So I said, "You okay, dude?" And he goes, "Adam, they don't understand. It's like when I look at that boy, that's like my ancestor that died. That's my grandpa. That's one of my people." He goes, "I look around here and all I see is ghosts." And he starts crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my character. So when you watch the movie and you see the way I look at people, I'm looking at them as their ghosts to me. And that's what I played through the whole movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it just brings something out, It's like, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's special. Thank you for sharing that, Adam. I watched a speech that you had given at the U of S. It was called "Rewriting the Hollywood Indian." I sat down a few days ago just because I wanted to understand you a little bit more and kind of just hear what you had to say. When you didn't have questions, you just started speaking. One thing that you were talking about was the romanticizing of Indian people in movies. You said something like Hollywood feels like they always have to save the Indian people and they refuse to portray us as resilient. Something that really stuck with me because we are a resilient people. Do you still kind of feel that same way? Obviously, I think you do, but kind of expand on that a little bit and tell us what it is, seeing it from the actor's perspective when you get a new role or you get somebody trying to come into and bring you into a film and you see that happening.
The importance of not only character, but if you're dealing with a nation of people like the Navajo Nation, there's certain protocols you should do. If you're dealing with the, Anishinaabe, which is I, or the Cheyenne or Kickapoo, Kickapoo's Anishinaabe, but yeah, Cree, you should go to the source and be respecting their knowledge for what you have as a film writer. And if you're not doing that and you're making shit up, it's kind of, that Hollywood kind of stigmatism of, we know you better as an Indian, and that's what we have to get past. So right now we're writing for their friggin' approval. We're writing to get their, yay, you're the good token Indian. We're going to take your show. And we have to stop that. But we know that a lot of those people are how do I say it, are afraid to acknowledge that we have a spiritual connection that has never been lost. We have a respect within our nation to nation as people. We're not mafia, but people think we are when we have a lot of monies with these casinos. Like there's a respect on all levels, you know? And I want to see that in a movie. I don't want to have them take our you know, stories and manipulate them into scary things that we fear when we never feared anything. Fear was not a concept. You know what I mean? It's like when death was arriving, we would honor that death with a song. And I have my song. When I'm going to die, I'm going to sing it. Now, how did I get that song? I fed a spider on my balcony. I asked for it to give me a song for my ceremonies. 2 days later, I dreamt that song, and I sing it now when I do ceremony. Those are those teachings we have now. If they were going to do it in a movie, it would be a scary spider, and it would attack you, and you would envision this song of death. And you know what I mean? It's like, come on, guys. We have our own power. And when people find out about it, I think it justifies the connection we have in the world, and their justification of a materialistic consume everything world would change their whole outlook. And I think that's what we're battling. You know what I mean? It's just not words on papers. It's battling the beliefs of each other, you know?
For sure.
I think I answered your question. I don't know where the hell I went.
Oh no, man! Just talk. That's exactly what we're here for. That's what we intend to do. We just want to get lost in conversation, right? And you're right. I feel like Hollywood has a way of like really making things overly cheesy in the sense that like it's kind of washed out in a way, and like everything has to be this, there always has to be like a big climax to every little story, and like it's not like that at all. And like I guess just listening to you in this past little bit is like you seem very very humble in a way that you would never ever sell out for a role, and you would never sell out for money just to get a gig. You would never do something that goes against your beliefs and against your original teachings and like your character just to get this role, just to get this paycheck. And that's super admirable considering like you're like the biggest First Nations Native American actor that we've had of all time so far, and you're opening up this gate, and it's like you can show others exactly how to do it because you seem like you're taking the high road and you have a high moral compass and a high moral ground, and you're not afraid to stand up for yourself, and it's like super admirable.
Well, it sucks in a way too because it closes certain doors of that people have, and it's just the fear of disturbing the keepers of our success. Do you know what I mean? So as you know, if you look up that I've boycotted a film, an actor, well basically non-Indigenous actors who are portraying us in movies. And I have friends who support what I was fighting against. And when I decided to boycott, I was hoping that my friends would boycott too. But I soon learned that one, people need a job and they have to feed their kids. So they're going to do whatever they have in front of them. Now, I got to do the same thing too, but there's certain things that I will not do. And if they're disrespecting us by offering a role to a non-Indian woman that could feed a native actor that I know of that could play the role better, then there's something wrong. And if we're not stepping up and fighting against that, then those people who aren't fighting and they're joining that side of the fence, those are the ones that I'm having to stay away from, but have to remind myself that I will be having to watch out for them. Like, be wary of
Mhm.
why they're making those decisions and why they're glorifying that other side of the fence and ignoring what exactly they're doing. I don't know what that is, but that's their choice. I'm not offended. I just walk away and I take names and realize that when I do my own work as a writer, director, actor, which me and my wife are doing right now, putting together our own projects, I will work with the friends that I have, but also people who have the same conviction and the same you know what I mean.
Yeah, like the same. Oh man, we're lost for words.
Just the same, just the indigenous respect is what I would call it,
Yeah.
almost a respect for what you're doing and who you are as a person. Not to shame the other people that aren't, but to set a standard for yourself, I guess, and to say, this is who I am, this is where I come from, and I don't need to fold because I mean, if Adam Beach can do it, then we all can, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, when I wrote the piece up in the magazine in Hollywood, talking about being the Hollywood Indian, I explained how yes, I am a Hollywood Indian because I'm an actor, and to all my friends, it's like I'm that Indian guy. But there comes a certain respect and a certain value you have to carry yourself. I will not be your token Indian. I will not just be a guy you throw a check in front of and I say, yes, sir, yes, master, I will do your bidding. It's more than that. And if you can't see that as an actor, then, do your thing. But what can you do? I was so angry when I saw what was happening, and I've chilled out a lot because I've decided to take the reins myself, and my wife and I have been for the last few years just putting together ideas, and we're going to make our own movies, and we don't have to rely on 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 certain aspects of getting things done.
Hmm. Yeah, and there's so much like so much underrepresentation too of like Native Americans in film as well.
There's not enough of us, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
dude? It's like if you two decided to be actors, you'd get auditions right away and they'd probably throw you in because there's maybe 5 actors out there that you guys would compete with. It's not a lot, man. So
yeah,
from the podcast, you guys should be a movie cast.
something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind,
Yeah,
eh, Ray?
no doubt, no doubt. I think I want to join the Adam Beach Institute. Actually, can you tell us a little bit about the Adam Beach Institute and how that started?
Yeah, dude. I was working with a friend of mine who's the director of my film school. And he basically was like, hey, Adam, there's an opportunity here back home, and you should come here and do some acting lessons. People will pay money to watch how you work and the details you put together, as an actor. And I told him first, I said, I don't want to be paid for teaching or helping people. I just want to do it out of my kindness. You know what I mean? And I said, so instead of doing that, let's build the film school and let's get everybody together to teach them everything they want to know and do it within, you know, 3 months as opposed to 3 years. Because when it comes to First Nations people, taking them out of their element of their reservation they only have weeks to months till they get the cultural shock and they want to get home or they miss home. We're taking them out of a comfortable environment. Why do we want to take them away for so long? So we designed a course that was for a number of months and or is it weeks? Uh, Man, I don't even know how long. I got to call them back and say, hey, how long are we teaching our students? But anyhow, in the teaching of our students, we make sure that they do their own short film, and everyone who has done a short films, it has won an award somewhere. So our students that go through our school, they know what they're doing, and they're capable of being seen in a good way. So it's pretty good. But the hard thing about doing the film school is we're against competitors who are after the same money that we're getting, because our students, when they come to see us, we pay for everything. We make sure to get the money for them. So it's a struggle for them already as First Nations people that we want to make it comfortable. So there's funding out there that you can access. Now, that funding gets limited because there's other people competing for it. So if you go against a film school that's been there for 34 years and you are just starting, you're not going to get a lot of money. They're going to get it all. And then when they see you competing and they're seeing your structure, they're like, oh my God, we have to take his structure and make ours better for Native people because we're not doing enough for them. And he's taking this money that could be money for us. So they take what we have to make theirs bigger and better. And it, it's a headache. And for me, when they open the doors for inviting more Native people to their club, that's what I'm after. So if somebody creates another Adam Beach somewhere else and it opens the doors for our people, I will never argue it. I will say thank you. We need more open space for our people. So that's kind of been the struggle, is to maintain the school while in competition with everybody. And they're now establishing what we've been doing for the last number of years.
Right, for sure, for sure. I think it just comes back to the that we just need more representation, and I don't believe that there's anybody better, just based on the way that you're speaking, than the Adam Beach Film Institute and what you're doing for those people. Because I can relate to that as a student athlete, coming from a reserve setting or town setting, and I come into a new place. River, you can probably say the same. When we come into those spaces, we're not welcome. We're competing with other people, and it's very hard. And then to not really have an identity as who we are as Indigenous people inside that setting, it can become almost like insurmountable to come to beat that. So what you're doing is going to change so many lives, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. I wish there was more. I hope that it comes full circle for you, and that nobody, come on, who wants to compete with Adam Beach, guys? Let's be real.
A lot of people. A lot of people want to cut that tree down, dude. But it's right now my wife and I are carrying on with certain things that we're doing. Like, I have a huge dream of where our people should be when it comes to filmmaking. And that's what I'm pursuing. Now, what is it that I'm doing? I've learned over the last few years that it's best to just keep my ideas to myself, and in fruition, when it's ready, then people can see it, as opposed to the ideas. And I'm not doing it in a way to keep it to myself. I just want my integrity of, when I say I'm going to do something, that I'm going to do it. So when I say, hey, I'm going to do a film school, there's actual film school. So it's all about time and and I want people to know that I'm looking out for their best interests, and we should dream bigger than the way we see things, and we have to get outside of the box and find our voice, because our voice matters, and people need to know who we are. They need to know we're alive. They need to know that we're well. They need to know our teachings are still there, so if we can give them that, we've done our ancestors proud, you know
For sure. For sure.
it's like you guys doing this podcast. We need more of it. We need to
We
hear the
do.
hilarities. We need to know the person. We need to know the difficulties, the strategies. We need to know it all. And you guys have a platform now that I wanted to be a part of, because you are just starting off in a place that needs our voice,
Mhm.
Yes. For sure.
because there's other people talking about us, but they're not us.
Yeah.
So you guys are off to a great start, and I want to help out in any way. So after we finish talking, I'll see how I can incorporate some ideas to help blossom you guys into the next phase. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, man!
Yeah.
I just first things first. I just want to thank you for that last part, because you took a chance on two kids. You know what I mean? That just started up a podcast a month ago, and now we've got the greatest Indigenous actor of all time sitting down here with us. It's surreal, man, and for you to believe in us just enough to have a conversation with us, man. I can't put it into words,
Yeah.
Mr. Beach. So
Yeah,
thank you so
exactly.
much.
Right? Because like we grew up watching Adam Beach. Everybody knows Adam Beach, and like we're just two res kids who just had a dream, right? And like Adam believes in us. That's like one of the craziest things ever. It's and one thing with our podcast too is that I guess we relate to you in the way that we don't want any competition, that we want to see everybody succeed. Like there's a lot of other people that are starting up podcasts too, and we're with them 110%, even to the point where like we try to buy as much like First Nations clothing, like small businesses that we can, and we try to wear them on our stream just to get them that exposure. And like the one thing we came in, we basically, when we started this, we wrote down stuff that like if we ever get lost, we could always come back to it, right? We could always come and look at like what our intentions were, and our intentions were like, if we eat, we'll have everybody eat with us. We're not about the money, we're not about competition. We just want everybody to do better with us, and even if it's us who don't succeed, if we pave the way for somebody much bigger than us to succeed, then at least we helped, right? And like that's the biggest thing, I guess, especially as First Nations people too, with all the lateral violence and like the crab in a bucket you were saying, is that we need more upliftment, because it's us against the world essentially.
Yeah. But also too, it's like we as Native people have to start recognizing that a lot of these issues that we have are also exposed around the world. So when we talk about the drunk Indian, like there's a lot of drunk white guys out there.
Word.
True.
And when you look at the population of who we are as Native people, there's a lot of more drunk white people in the population.
Mhm.
So for us to carry that stigma, that's fucked up, dude. So we have to start erasing that stigma. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not the drunk Indians. They've said that in movies. They've said that in literature. They keep saying it now. And it has to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you guys were carrying 2 beer right now, drinking here, and calling the show, hey, this is the Drunk Indian Show. You know?
We're
Drunk
actually
white guys are
sober.
accepted, dude.
Yeah, right. And no, we're actually sober. Just a disclaimer, especially if our
We drink
parents are
Pepsi
watching.
and Pepsi only.
Pepsi and water, but
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yeah. Okay, so first things first, obviously, me and River are big fans. So we want to ask a couple of our own fan questions, and then we want to incorporate the fans that are in the chat just to maybe give you bounce a few questions off you. One thing that I really want to know is as an actor. So, for instance, like your movies, but also just movies in general. Do you sit down and watch movies and movies of your own? And then when you do, what do you see? What do you see when you see the movie?
Um, wow, that's a loaded question because a lot of films are dynamic in many ways. So we'll start off. My favorite movie is called Stand By Me. Stand By Me represents an era that that I saw as a place of fun music. You know, um, lollipop, lollipop, oh, oh, a lollipop, a boom, a boom, boom. You know, so for me, there was this childish approach to it that I felt, I lost my childhood. So I really connected with it and about the growth of looking back at the great times we had as kids. And then the next one is called Mosquito Coast. And that you have to watch because it's this movie of adventure and finding yourself and family and then the other one is called Running on Empty, and the dynamic of the family and them running away and being a part of each other and supporting each other is amazing. So I have I have an interest in family films that look at each other in a way of argument, love, and pain, you know, surviving. So those are the kind of things that I'm looking into watching in movies. But when I watch a movie, it's difficult because I'm looking at it from an editor's point of view. So if the editing is off or it's not fluid, I already am kind of pushed away from the movie. If the writing is terrible, I don't want to watch it. If the acting is terrible, it could be funny watching it. So because I'm a part of that world, it's hard to distinguish the story because I'm very analytical of every little thing that's happening. So it's kind of hard for me to say, that was a great film. But overall, the film I'm watching now that I love is called Peaky Blinders, and it's on Netflix. I find the acting in there is amazing, and that's what I'm looking for, is something to intrigue my interest as an actor, which is the acting.
Oh, okay, cool. So with culture, I guess, was that something you were always like raised around, or was it something that you reconnected with back as you got a little older? Just your
Uh,
culture
I
in a Shabe way.
I connected when I got older. There was a time where I was kind of 16 to 19 when I was going through the trauma of my parents' death and the trauma of living in a small town outside my reservation. Like there's a lot that I had to endure as a kid. And when I came of age, I started carrying that darkness. I started not wanting to be around anymore. I found myself saying, like, why am I here? I don't have any parents. Fuck the world. I was getting really seriously depressed. And when I was 16, someone approached me with, oh, was I 16? No, I wasn't 16. I was Shit, how old was I? I was 19. I don't know. I was in that age, and I, sheesh, I don't even know. I have to call my friend. I'd like to know details of exactly how old I was. But a friend of mine uh, introduced the teaching of a small stone and said, Adam, there's a teaching in this stone about our grandfathers, and they are in the earth within these stones, and they have our memories of our ancestors. And if you need help, take this stone with you and carry it. And if you're happy, sad, just hold it and let it know what you're thinking and how you're feeling, and it'll help you. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I didn't really care. And
Mm-hmm.
one day I sat in my place of thoughtfulness, and I was thinking about all this stuff. So I pulled out the pebble and I said, so you're supposed to help me, right? So I held it and I gave it all the information of who I am, what I'm running away from, anger, sad, happiness, whatever. And at the end of it, I looked in my hand and I felt relieved. I felt like someone heard me. I felt a connection that I've never heard before or felt before. And I was like, wow, this does work. Now I have to know more. So I went back and I started getting more teachings and more teachings. And I'm 47 now, 48. So if you consider all those years of learning the Anishinaabe way, that I've kind of got a good collection of stuff to help me and others kind of untangle their their threads.
Yeah, and like, do you ever find yourself, I guess, battling with trying to balance both worlds, I guess, as a indigenous person and having your cultural beliefs and trying to navigate in this today's society because they're both very, very different concepts, right? And like, how do you, I guess, kind of maneuver that? Because there's times where I struggle, right? There's times when like, well, like I know for a fact that I'm always going to be a First Nations person, and every time I walk in a door, there's always going to be a preconceived stereotype of who I am as a First Nations person, that people are already going to have these stereotypes of me until I prove them wrong. And I don't live my life just to prove like people wrong. I do it for my own well-being, I guess. Is and like so like for you, I guess, like just trying to balance these two worlds, your old ways, the old teachings, and all these new teachings in today's society, I guess, even like as far as like ceremony and protocol, like how do you maneuver something like that? Because I guess this is kind of me just looking for guidance because you've been um, on Mother Earth longer than I have, and it's something that I kind of think about like every other day.
The thing I've learned is that if you or if I am going through a struggle or a traumatic period of time, that I have to figure something out, I take
Mhm.
my medicines and my bundle and I put it away because I need to figure out certain things as a human being and find those triggers.
Mhm.
Now, when I find them, I can be able to go back to my bundle and come to my bundle and teachings in a way of respect, honesty, truthfulness, and all of that stuff. And know that when I am harnessing those gifts in that way, that they will be put to good use and help others while in that moment.
Mhm.
Um, Now, going out in the world, if I need a ceremony or if I need to do something that signifies strength and and awareness. Like, it doesn't matter who and what I'm doing, I will present it in that way. So if I need to go say a prayer, I'll find someone with tobacco, or I'll go buy it, and I'll just go find a tree, and I'll do my ceremony or my prayer with the tree and what I'm doing it about. And I'll do that anywhere. It doesn't matter who it is or who's around. That's my place. And wherever I put my feet in this world, our ancestors have walked here. This is my domain, not yours. That's how strong my belief is to belonging here, you know? And I remember one time I was in New York City and I did a pipe ceremony in my room. And when I went outside, because you can't smoke inside, I went outside to smoke the pipe in the middle of New York. Everybody's walking by. I wasn't afraid. I didn't even think of those people. I was in my sense of connection with my ancestors and what I was doing and who, for, what, when, and that I started just, smoking and letting go this pipe and my prayers. And a dude came up and he looked and he said, "Hey, can I smoke with you?" Oh my God, it was so funny. And I looked at him and I said, "No, you can't." Um, what was the word I used? This is, oh God, this is like it's, this is a ceremony, but I used a word that let him know that it's kind of, I'm in my place, that it's not, I got to finish this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so those are those things that come along. Now, where did I get that from? I don't know. I have been a very stubborn, a very strong-willed. Maybe because I lost my parents, that I have nobody to tell me what to do. Yeah, you can't do that. Why? You just can't. I'm your dad, motherfucker. you know. So I've kind of created this strength of character out of learning from others. And my family taught a lot about my dynamic. My family was the one that taught me about being a child of an alcoholic. My family taught me how to deal with the abuse I had growing up. My family has always been truthful and honest when I became 18, to let me know that a lot of the shit that I grew up with came from them having to deal with it too. So I didn't feel burdened by all of this trauma because I knew my auntie went through it, my uncle went through it. So my dad must have been through it. Hell, my grandpa went through it. My grandma went through it. So at 18, 19, my family was open to say, this is the shit that went through our family. So you're going to be okay. We are going to support you. Just don't hide it. Just welcome the world in a good way. So I was lucky
Mhm.
that I had that. So my journey along the way still picks up people that teach me and guide me. And it'll be a forever thing. I'm just starting now to really feel free of any static that's out there.
Yeah.
I'm okay with just being at home and doing nothing and really just being me. I love me. Would I have said that 10 years ago? I don't think so. I'd find something wrong. But it's kind of it just comes with age. Like, you're asking an ageless question.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, old man, teach me something." Now, in this interview, we talked a lot. There's a lot of teachings in that interview we did today. What are you going to take from it to lead in your life? I don't know your life. I don't know what you do at home. I don't know your relationships. Now it's a matter of you taking you. You know what I mean? Okay,
Mm.
I'm learning stuff now. Who am I? And what am I going to do for the next 10 years? And how do I get to the certain level? You're already doing something that a lot of us wish we could do, podcast, interviewing people, like your interest in others. Like that's a big step, dude. You know, you're in university, you're playing volleyball, something you love, you're going out to be a teacher. You're doing stuff that is bigger than what I was doing at your age, you know. I've just been lucky with falling in love with acting and being successful at it, learning about me through films, and I'm lucky to be in a position that people watch what I do and they admire it. And I have to acknowledge that admiration with a smile and say thank you. You know, before the first 5 years, I hated everybody. Leave me alone. Quit talking to me. I don't care if you like the fucking movie, you know? But after a while, after hearing, hey, Victor, shut up, I came into a place to recognize that these people have an admiration for what I do. And I should honor their admiration with admiration for them for admiring what I have. And that was a big lesson for me to learn, to accept it. And I'm still learning to accept everything that comes my way, you know? So it's like, you know, why can't I make $1 million? You know, why? You know what I mean? You should be
Yeah.
able to make whatever you want. Now, I'm not going to sell my integrity for it. I'm going to turn down anything that they're trying to manipulate me for. You know what I mean? Like I got some stories, dude, about people trying to buy me out. And when I tell you in person, I can't speak of it on here because it sends a trigger to the line of where it came from that I don't want people to, you know, research or whatever. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of shady shit out there, dude. And a lot of people are trying to dismantle you or trying to use what you have. And I've been in bad relationships with business where someone would take your name and 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 use it for their own benefit and not tell you, and then you have to break up the business because they were using my name for their benefit when it was supposed to be for the other people, you know. There's just a lot of stuff out there, dude. So when I talk about our people as good indigenous people, the ancestral way, the traditional, the Anishinaabe way, there's people who use what I just said for their own benefit for a monetary value. And those are the people you have to watch out for. And
Mhm.
those people will go around your back and they will try to take what you have and use it for their platform. And then you go, hey, that person did something, you know? And by then it's too late. So I got a list, and that's for my benefit, though,
Yeah,
to watch
and
it. So
I just want to say, like, thank you for that. That was, um, I felt like I needed to hear that.
For sure.
I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I almost teared up.
Yeah, bro. That was crazy. That
I
was
almost
crazy.
teared up, but didn't
We should
happen.
probably do a couple fan questions because they've been sitting in here and listening. We like to interact with them a little bit and keep them kind of engaged. So our first question is actually one of our former guests, Fawn Wood. She's an Indigenous recording artist, super talented. Her and her husband came on and they absolutely killed it. But her question is what is your take on Indigenous people being represented in the musical scores of films? One thing I enjoyed recently was watching the series Trickster. And for the first time, I've taken notice that all Indigenous musicians featured in that, which I thought was pretty deadly.
that's awesome, dude. I think we're at a time right now where we have a group of indigenous filmmakers and musicians that have enough compilation of experience to work together to really make something come to light. And as you said, the show Trickster, which I haven't seen, but I have some friends that are in it. Obviously, it's showing that we have the talent to do what we want to do. So I'm glad that, that's being acknowledged. Now, where do we sit at the table when it comes to putting a show like this together? And why weren't we doing this 20 years ago? That's where I go with my question. So every time we hit a place where it's like, oh, Smoke Signals was awesome. Well, why weren't we doing that 20 years before that? So yes, recognition matters and we're getting recognized, but I can't help to why this wasn't available when I was 19 or what was happening back then. So we have a lot of work to move forward with. So when I do the films that I want to do, I'm collecting a number of musicians that I want to work with to do the score of the film. I'm working with some people already and writing some scores for a film that I'm going to direct. So I've been keeping tabs of everybody, like our performers are working on that show Trickster. So we are about to create a movement. I just hope we keep that ball rolling because yes, there's Trickster, but there's also another point of who we are as Native people that we need to see. And I hope that we can tell those stories and move into that world of the complex characters that we really are. So we'll see how it goes from here. And I'm glad that Trickster's having a hell of a time and it needs to happen, you know what I mean? I'm 47. Like, I'm glad I'm getting to see this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm
Sure.
48.
Ooh, man, you don't look a day over 30. You got to tell us what's your aging secrets, man, because you stayed looking the same since you were like 20.
There's called Botox. There's surgery right here. No, I'm kidding. I, I I don't know. I think it's just laugh, have fun, eat well, work out occasionally, and it's like a lot of people they don't realize what goes into the effort of character development. Like there's a lot of fitness activity that we have to do. Like if I weigh about 188 right now, and I feel overweight because I want to be 185 or 175. Like that's my mid. If I'm 180 all the time, oh, I feel like a champ. So I have to lose about 7 pounds to feel like a king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got another question here. Joni Goldfor asked if you can say something to a troubled youth that had an upbringing similar to yours and wanted to get into film, what words would you say?
I would say first and foremost, it's okay to listen to your emotions and feel troubled because your body and your mind is trying to tell you something. Now, if I can encourage you to take that into making films, you would be a great storyteller because you have something to say, and making movies allow you to say it through other characters. So you could say, that character is named Fred. Fred is going to be the embodiment of my hate in the world. So Fred's going to hate shit. And then you're going to develop Susie. Susie is going to be the feminine beauty that I see within my family. And I'm going to write about that. So you get all of these characters and you put a story. Now, everybody doesn't know that it's you're writing about, and you don't have to tell them. You could keep that to yourself. But if you truthfully, through these characters, can symbolize what needs to change in our world, you have an amazing story. That's what I would say.
Great words, great words. We got a couple more questions here. We're just kind of sifting through them as they come in. There you go. I want to know how you are protecting yourself health-wise and mentally during these trying times of obviously with COVID and everything else going on.
Okay, let me show you. Hold on.
Oh,
Oh
Cribs.
shit! Where'd you go?
Hey, we're still here.
We're still here. We can see you.
All right.
APT and Cribs.
Here's my little baby toy. That was a vase that was given to me from this guy in Japan who one day hopefully you'll get to know. Okay, so what I do during COVID, I would wear this mask, simple mask, front, back, right? Put it on. Now that we're in a second phase where it's getting deadly, so I get a deadlier mask, and when I wear this, I put it inside my other mask, so there's an extra protection over the big protective mask, but I could prolong this mask use because it's being covered on the outside. So that's kind of what I do. And because I'm working in a new movie December 9th, I can't get sick. So whenever I leave that door to go outside to walk the dog anywhere, I'm wearing that mask. And when I get home, I wash my hands and make sure I'm clean. So I think everybody should do that, but everybody makes their own decision.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing during COVID.
Cool. We're gonna call that mask the double deadly from now on because you got two double it up.
The double deadly. I like it.
All right, we got another question. This comes from one of our close friends here. He's been a big supporter of what we do here at Foxing Ground, Dylan Cardinal. He asked, "What is the most beautiful place that you've traveled to?"
Oh my God, there's so many. You can't really pick one good place, but I'm gonna choose one right now. New Zealand.
Oh wow.
Wow.
I took the family there for a movie. It's not out yet, but my gosh, that place is so beautiful. And the community that's there, everybody speaks basically Maori there. Like it's a prerequisite, I guess, in class. So they have to learn the language. It's fucking cool, man. So they know how to sing the traditional songs. It's really cool. But, they have a European kind of atmosphere that I felt there when I was in Europe. So when people get to see that and you come home, you're like, why aren't we like that here? What's stopping us from having their respective culture and their indigenous people? Why are we failing that? You know what I mean? We live up to a certain standards, but we fail miserably in a lot of other ways, But say la vie.
Okay. This one's from our older brother Dustin. He says the boys from Ishkode are watching. Shout out to the tribe. Tell them how you've been passing time in lockdown.
Hey, Dustin Jonas, shout him out.
All I do is play Ark, and our tribe is called Ishkode, and I love these guys. Without them, I'd probably be delirious and crazy, but they have been my life source through COVID. I'm on this game 15 hours a day. It's crazy. But Ishko Day for life. These guys, they got my back no matter what. And they make me laugh every day. And it's cool. We have our own tribe called Ishko Day. And we have to protect it from anybody attacking us. It's awesome, dude. Yo, Kilo, what's up?
We have another one from Miss Tia Wood.
Yeah, she was a guest on our show last week, man. If you get a chance, watch her. She's an amazing vocalist. She's a TikTok star. Tia Wood is her name. She's a rising star on TikTok, as well as she's a great Indigenous artist that's fusing R&B sounds as well too. Super super good and super supportive of what we do here at Foxing Around. So she said, "What kind of film slash movies do you want to produce? Movies based on true stories, movies that are highlighting the real issues in Indigenous communities, inspiring come up movies to inspire."
I think the best um, outlook to have is wait for what's presented in front of you that gives you the greatest desire and need to do it. So when I read a script, I'm not saying I want to fucking play a carpenter, god damn it. You know? So you're already throwing away the script because I want to be an astronaut, for crying out loud. So you kind of just you're open to whatever's coming forward. Now, most of that comes to you is terrible because I'm critical of everything I do. But then sometimes a beautiful film comes in your lap and you are like, I am lucky to be in this. So I'm doing this new movie, and when you guys see me in this movie, it's not about my character in the movie. You know, I play a psychologist, but it's the story that is so amazing. And you will watch it going like, Adam's lucky to be in this movie.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the luck. I want to feel lucky.
We love it.
But
All right, we got
let
one.
me further that. Okay, wait. Let me further that.
Let's go.
There has to be a truth to who we are. If it's a native character, a native film. So the person that leads that choice is the director. So the director has to be open to interpretation. Now, if he isn't, it's going to be the most miserable experience in the world because I've been through that. But lucky the movie was good and you didn't have to see how miserable I was. But those are the two things I look for is truthfulness and the ability to change the character to my liking on how I carry respect in my teaching.
Okay. We'll probably hit you with like two more questions here. We're getting a lot. Oh, where is it?
Hey, let's answer them all, dude. I'm not going anywhere.
Hey,
all right. Okay,
let's
let's go. Let's go. Let's answer them all.
Here, we got coming down here. We've got. Let's see.
Where did it go?
We'll click this one. We'll try this one. When did you realize it's time to buckle down and chase what you wanted in life?
Ooh. Wow. When I was introduced to acting, I was 14 years old. And that for me was a troubled time because I was growing up and I was learning a lot about, growing up stuff. And at 14, acting was such a distraction out of my immediate kind of atmosphere that I was welcomed into this world, crazy world of performance artists that I felt safe. I was able to not be Adam, but I could be a pirate. I could be a ninja. I could be anything I wanted to be and live in different eras to perform. And when I found comfort in that, it alleviated all the stress I had of growing up.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for that one. Ooh, this one. This is a good one. Who is the most influential Indigenous actor that inspired you to work harder, such as trailblazers like the late Gordon Tatusis, Tonto, and Thompson Highway?
Um, all of those people. There's not one that is a major approval, but I will say there is one because he's always been the light of the day whenever I see him, and his name is Graham Greene.
Wow.
He was when I was an extra in my first movie, he was there to create beauty around you. He's a damn good actor. And every time I see him, he gives me these new tips of performance, of character, of personality, of humor, of life. It's constant with that guy. And no matter whenever I see him, something's new, something is powerful. And I don't know how he does it, but I'll never be in his league. He's very quick, he's fast at his thoughts. And one day I hope to get to his level, but I would say he is one that I've always admired. And another guy that brought strength of character is Gordon Tatusis. I always felt that he was someone that I could be, but can't. He's in a different league of his own, but he would always bring a traditional teaching factor in everything he does. And I hope to one day embody that and have what he had, because before he died, we were supposed to do we wanted to do a TV show about the drum and how the drum came into his life, and we wanted to show how it came into my life and kind of show the world what it really means, And when he died, the story died with it because I couldn't achieve the story without him. Now anybody else could do it, but without his perspective, nah. I just don't see it another way.
Yeah, no, that's definitely understandable. How was meeting the cast of Suicide Squad and more in depth? I guess Will Smith.
Well, when you work on a film like Suicide Squad, I got the call to say, "Hey, the director wants to work with you. Would you like to do this project?" And I was pretty ecstatic because I know about the Suicide Squad. I'm a big comic book nerd. So I was like, hell yeah. The director called me. We had a chat and he said, come along for the ride. And then a couple of weeks later, I was in Toronto and we're all hanging out. And when someone like Will Smith enters a room, you can't but realize that all the air in the room goes to him. And he's not trying to take all the attention. It's just he's so fascinating. He's ideally someone who is looking to always fine-tune himself as a human being, no matter if it's working out, if it's education, if it's knowledge, if it's acting, if it's character development, all of it. That's what he's after. And you can't help but wonder and ask questions or be around that because it's so influential and you want to be as good as him. Now, when you're with him, he quickly reminds you that you are the best that you can be. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you try to praise him, he'll praise you by saying, I can't be you because you're you. You know what I mean? It's like there's a quality to him that it's hard to say in one or two words. You have to just be around him and realize that, it must be hard for him because he influences so many people around him. Like that's a lot of work, a lot of energy to be around people who just want something from you,
For sure. All right, we got another question here. This one's cool. If there were to be a biography film about Adam Beach, who would you want to play you?
Ooh, who would I want to play? God dang, dude. I don't even know. I haven't even thought that far, dude. I don't know. Hopefully, by the time I go, there'll be technology where I can play myself. It'll be an animated movie.
Like the holograms, that'd be cool. All right, we're gonna go. Do you collect any comic books? And would you consider yourself writing or backing an Indigenous graphic novel?
Okay, use the washroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, we are, or a friend of mine and I were looking into a graphic novel idea that we started on, and hopefully it'll be coming into a film. So we're trying to decide graphic novel, then film, or film, then graphic novel. We don't know yet, you know? So that's coming together. Comic books I now collect on my phone, so I can just pay and read it on my phone now. So everything's on my phone when it comes to collecting comics.
Nice, nice. There's some great questions flowing in. Have you ever felt uncomfortable in a film as for them to push you to the limit of being disrespectful culturally?
No, I would never allow myself to be put in that perspective. If something happened that I couldn't get out of, I would leave.
For sure. That's awesome. All right, we got another one here. Of the people you worked with, past and present, who bestowed knowledge on you that really benefited your career as an actor?
Well, the first knowledge that I got, that I felt to pay respect for myself, was a guy who passed away. His name was Minor Mustaine, and he passed on teachings to help me through a film called Squanto: A Warrior's Tale, to help me through depression, and I was the lead actor of a movie that required me to be up at 5 a.m. every day, working every week, and it was so odd for me because I've never been in that position before, and I broke down a couple of times on set, missing home, telling everybody to fuck off and leave me alone. I want out of here. It's really traumatic, but he helped me out. And during that film, there was another guy. His name was Mandy Patinkin, and he passed on his knowledge of not to take disrespect, stand up for yourself, walk away when you have to, and make sure that that nobody humanizes you, because you're important and you shouldn't lose that. So that film, I learned a lot about courage and maintaining my sanity.
All right, we got another question coming in from. This is actually River's head coach of the old school volleyball team. He's asking, when COVID settles, is there an opportunity for River and Raymond to come and spend some quality time in person with you? As their role model, this has the opportunity to truly take off.
You could say no if you want.
Yeah, you can say no if you want. Don't feel like a gun to your head.
Don't feel inclined.
Yeah.
No, say that again.
Okay, so he said, when COVID settles, is there an opportunity for me and River to come and spend some quality time in person with you? As their role model, this has an opportunity to take off. So can we come study you a little bit in person?
Yeah, we can figure that out, dude. Of course, and I'll probably come out there too. You know?
Hey, for sure.
Awesome.
We had to throw that one in there because obviously it's River's coach, but also that was kind of an us question. Okay, we got a few more. Let's see. What was the funniest prank or silliest thing you joke about with casts or other actors?
The funniest prank?
Yeah, like have you ever pulled pranks on set or tried to joke around?
Yeah, there's a lot of pranks that everybody does. It's a matter of who's doing it and how crazy it is. Sometimes people will just, run streak naked across the set just for some bear full of laughs. Or, one time I was on the private jet with Nick Cage promoting Wind Talkers, and he came in with this cool cowboy hat he'd bought. And he's like, "Hey, Adam, check this out. I got this for you." And it was like this cool little case. And I was like, "Holy fuck, man, what is that?" And I opened it up. And it's one of those scary rattler things that come out that, and everybody laughed because of my reaction. And it was like, it was almost like a rattlesnake jumping out, but it was just a rubber band and stuff. So, that happens a lot.
All right, we got another one. Since you're a big gamer, would you ever consider streaming on a platform like Twitch or Facebook gaming so we can see the tribe in action?
Yeah, I'm considering that. It's just a matter of getting everybody on board as a tribe, because, you're basically letting people see all your tricks and your base and your weaknesses and your strengths. And that's kind of with ARC, you don't really want to see, you don't want to let people know what you're capable of, because, they'll learn from it and they'll just attack us the same way that we'd attack them. So I'll figure something out, maybe I'll jump on another game like PUBG and, stream that. But, it all depends on the tribe, if they want to, expose our strengths and weaknesses on our game. But I'm open to people joining our tribe if they want to come on board and, be a part of what we're doing. That would be great.
Okay, so with Wes Studi and Takeo, sorry, this pronunciation is going to be bad. Take Watiti getting Oscars. Do you feel the time is now for Indigenous written, directed, and acted films to break through?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people now see a new perspective in films that are straying away from the studio controlled industry. And it's nice to see, a movie like Parasite winning a lot of awards, being South Korean and all. And I think we fit in that genre, but we have to be, we have to make sure that we're feeding our interest in our portrayal, not theirs. Because when we fit in their bubble, it's not going to work. We have to be, like that that film that was not Anatawajat, or I forget what it is, but it was an Inuit film telling their story, and people loved it. So I'm sure that we will really define the story of who we are to tell. And when we get that, we will rise to the occasion,
Yeah. Oh, I got one from Ryan Chamaki's question, a bit of a long one. But I noticed that some of the discussion in the podcast centered around the misrepresentation of Indigenous peoples. I'm a first-year teacher, and my students are currently participating. Sorry, I just got hit with a cattail. I'm a first-year teacher, and my students are currently participating in an exchange with non-Indigenous students to break down those negative and stereotypical barriers. Are there any words you might have for the youth? I think it'd be pretty awesome for them to hear something from you.
Well, I think if we approach it in the traditional sense of being, teaching who we are as a healthy people, it's like we have we have our teachings of respect, honesty, courage. If we can project that in conversation as opposed to just regurgitating the racist attitude that people have toward us, we will get somewhere, you know? So, because the other side of the table who are non-Indigenous, they carry shame, they carry guilt, and we don't want them to feel that. We want them to recognize our greatness in who we are as a people, and we have to acknowledge that whole embodiment of who we are. So when someone comes to talk to me and they want to know about me, I tell them through the teachings that I learned. Now, I don't go into a negative aspect of growing up hearing people call me prairie nigger, which was horrible, or other racist terms. And I have to understand they know that already, but they don't know these other teachings, you know, and how to let them in to that study. When we let them in, then that's that teaching of the ancestors of being human being, you know, and that's what we have to do. Now, how do you do that? I don't know, because we're, as you can see in society today, we're pointing fingers, we're fighting each other, we're, you know, having a tough time being protectors of the land, and we need to solve that riddle. You know what I mean? So I think slowly but surely we'll come into the light of being of who we are, which is respect, and I'm hoping to see that one day where people will respect who we are and respect the lands we're in, respect our teachings, and not see it as blasphemy, you know? And when you look at our people, there is a cover that some people have disguised themselves. So some people will say they're how do I say it? Being Indian in today's society is a good monetary value for business when they're not in that realm of being Indian, if you know what I mean. But it's good business. And those are the wary ones. I don't even talk about the non-Indians anymore. I'm talking about those ones who disguise themselves really, really well, dude. But anyhow.
No. And this is what we like too, I guess. Like people are here for the realness, especially from you as well, right? So like having to stop, having to pause and think about your answer, that's what we want, because that's the true Adam Beach, that's the true River Thomas, that's the true Raymond Fox. We're not trying to be all scripted, we just want to have a good conversation. Right here, we'll probably take like one or two more. We'll let you get back to ARC soon. The tribe misses you.
I'm good, dude.
So this is from Xander. He's actually our moderator. He's been helping us.
Big ups, Xander.
Yeah, big ups. He says, ask him about Adam Sandler, specifically about the ridiculous six and how lots of Indigenous people quit on set due to feeling discriminated. If he felt any and if he felt any of those things while working on Joe Dirt, maybe, or if he felt the opposite, like empowered while filming Joe Dirt.
All right, let me answer this. Hold on, I gotta get this charged up. All right. Okay, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Ridiculous Six. I've never seen it. I would never see it, and it's one of those films that had to be made for us to understand that it has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever fantasy that someone was having in telling this story who thought it was funny, it's not, and I'm glad that things are changed now. It's a lack of education and a lack of respect to be trying to joke about certain things. Now, we as Native people, we're funny as hell, but we don't go that low into telling funny stories that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we do, it's within our little household. You know what I mean? But that's something that we would never project on film. Now, I'm glad that the people that chose to walk off did, because it's important to show people what you're doing is wrong. Now, I wish everybody walked off, but some people have to pay the bills. So I can see why some people stayed. But some people don't, feel offended by certain things, So you can't really point fingers at the perspective of what had happened. I'm just glad that people have learned from it. And I hope that if something like this happens again, that everybody walks off,
Yeah.
because we have to stick together. And we're such a small minority in film that we need to support each other. And, if I'm boycotting a film, everybody should.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't believe in it, they should say, you know what? Something's not wrong here. Something's not right. They shouldn't hire a non-Indian to play an Indian. That's taking away a woman's voice. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, we're living in a time where a woman's voice is important, but everybody has their own way of doing things. So Adam Sandler has a lot of funny films, and he'll continue making funny films. He has a following. It just he failed on this project, and I'm hoping that he learns from it. Now, when I did Joe Dirt was awesome, dude.
Yes.
There was nothing wrong. We had fun. It was wild, and I'd do it again. So I'm hoping that one day, me and my friends, we have an idea for a Kicking Wing movie, and it's a spin-off of who he is, and I think you guys will like it. So one day, that's it's like my wife and I have a string of projects that we're slowly putting together, and I hope you guys like it when you see them. Some are happy, some are sad, some are drama, some are action. It's I'm trying to show people that we have lived in different lights, and I hope you get different emotions and feelings through it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
For sure.
Diversity.
Diversity, exactly. All
we're
right, we got one last question. This one's a good one too. Traveling all over Indian country, where have you had the best fry bread?
wow. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to have a competition of a fry bread contest.
Ooh.
And then I'll have an answer to that question. So tell the person who answered that thank you. When COVID is over, I'm going to set up a fry bread competition. I'll make sure the prize money is high, that everybody gets involved, and we find a winner.
Ooh, the
Okay.
best fry bread in the world.
That's right.
Dang.
And
It's
they'll
gonna be
claim the best fry bread in the world.
yeah.
You sure it ain't the
And
lady on
and
smoke?
they'll have to
When she
break
puts
it in
in
half.
Yeah, exactly. They got it.
she
Oh my god. All right. Well, I think that's about it for fan questions. Thank you guys for staying engaged with us and staying true. What we like to do here towards the end of the segment, Adam, is we like to amplify the voice of our guests. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put you on the main screen. If you'd like to give a message to anybody out there, share whatever you need to. We'd like you to do that right now. So
Yeah.
we're gonna pop you up at the top.
anything, future films, just whatever you feel like saying.
Are we doing that now?
Yeah, we'll pop you up right away here.
Right
So
away
give us
here.
1 second. There we
Okay.
go.
There you go.
All right. What can I say that I haven't said before? Let me wander around here. Well, before I start, this is my daughter's light. Makes me look fantabulous. Look at these eyeballs. Anyhow, wow, what can I say? First of all, we're in a place of COVID, so wear your fucking mask. I don't care what you think about how uncomfortable it is or that it's not working or whatever it is. What you're doing is preventing other people, including yourself, from getting sick, and we need to stop this, prevent it, and hopefully a vaccine will be here so we can be smart about it and get back to living life again in the way we did. I find myself in this isolation, kind of looking at myself, my family, and understanding that that we have more years ahead of us. That this is a good time to slow down and look at yourself in a way of what haven't I done, what I can do, and what opportunities are out there that that I could choose to be a part of. So yesterday I was talking to my wife and I told her, I think I might look into being a chef. Now, am I going to do that? I don't know. But the thought of the idea, oh my God, it made me imagine and be aware again. And then we were talking about how when we were kids, there was this imagination. We believed that we could create, uh, uh, you know, uh, falling stars, that we could call the gods, we can talk to animals, we could, you know, be princes and princesses. And if we could take a moment and look at ourselves and know that life it's not too late to redefine who you are. And that would be the message right now, because of this isolation that we're in, because of the closure we have. My daughter's downstairs in her room and she can't see any friends. She communicates with them online. She plays her games and she's self-soothing, but um, she's creating her uniqueness within her space and within her time. So I'm learning through her to try to find that also. So if you can take this time, because, this COVID is forcing us to stay indoors, reevaluate, look, and find what it is that could bring back the spark of imagination as a child, being that full of life. It's like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? And if you could find a piece of that, because the years I've learned of being who I am, we as Indigenous people have a place in this world in whatever form we want. I have a cousin who's a doctor. I have one who's a lawyer. I've seen Native politicians. I've seen us in all parts of life. And that's what you should see, is you in every aspect of what we see out there. So if you want to be an actor, be an actor. If you want to be, a painter, be a painter. All of it. And that's for you to decide. So hopefully in this time, we'll come to chat again. And I wish we could chat louder. But I hope that is something that you guys can take and use for your own self.
Wow. I just want to say, Mr. Beach, Adam Beach, I don't even know what to call you sometimes, bro, maybe. I just want to thank you so much for coming on once again and believing in what we do here and having the faith in the both of us, man. I'm at a loss for words right now because I watched you growing up. I watched your films. I've connected with you on this podcast, and it's something that I could never believe in my wildest dreams that I would be sitting here interviewing Adam Beach. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your stories. And I hope we can do this again very soon because this was special to me. I don't know about you, River, if you got anything to say.
Yeah, no, just thank you so much for being real with us and just taking the time to do this with us. And I cannot thank you enough. And we're gonna send you once our merch gets in. We're gonna send you a free Foxing Around shirt, just as a gift of gratitude, because we as in Nahel people, Cree people, we try to gift each other, and we're students, so we're broke. Otherwise, I'd give you like $1 million, but I don't have that. So I will definitely get a shirt going your way. Just for a token of gratitude for doing this for us, because it's unbelievable. It's so unbelievable that this went on this evening.
Awesome, dude. Well, I enjoyed the time. You guys are cool. And what can I say? You guys have started something that is opening our hearts and minds, and keep doing it, man. I'm just privileged to know you now, and hopefully you let me on again, and not some other native actor who's drawn attention to you guys.
You're welcome here anytime at the Foxing Around podcast. Come on and do guest shows. We'll talk comics, we'll talk conspiracies, gaming, whatever you want to do. You just let us know, and you're welcome back anytime, Mr. Beach.
And a little bit of a spoiler, me and Ray might be looking into getting a podcast studio in Vancouver next year. So if you want to come be a live guest in there and just hang out.
Oh my God, I'll do the podcast with you guys every day.
What? What is that?
If you're in Vancouver, yeah, we'll do it together, dude. I'll be on board.
Oh my God, Mr. Adam Beach, you guys heard it here first. The Foxing Around podcast next year when we get a studio, man. Mr. Adam Beach is going to be our co-host.
How are you guys getting a studio over here?
We're just gonna rent like a cheap business, like like those business offices that they rent for cheap. We'll just set it up like that and just kind of do it for once a week that we can go in and use the studio.
Dude, if you tell me when you're coming down here, I'll have a place for you. You don't have to pay anything. I know a spot. It'll be good. We'll rock it, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna be going to school there next year in Vancouver, so we're both moving out there, and it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Right. I'll pending COVID, obviously, but when you guys get here, I got a place. I'll talk to them. they'll say yes, obviously, and yeah, man, I'll start fixing it up now to make it something bigger than what you guys are thinking of.
Thank you
Mr.
so
Beach.
much.
Thank you so much,
You
man.
guys need a backup band. You need it to be live. You gotta, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Oh
Yeah,
my
for
goodness.
sure. Yeah, miigwech, hi. Thank you. I cannot say thank you enough in so many languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adam. We're gonna let you go now, just because I think we need to process that for a minute, because that was something truly special. Thank you so much once again. We're gonna
get that shirt to you, and have a good evening. Thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot.
Right on, dude.
All right. Peace
You're
out.
the
We're
go.
gonna have fun, man.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
All right.
All right, take care.
What?
Bro,
did that just happen? What the hell? Did you guys hear that? Mr. Adam Beach is gonna be hooking us up, man. Oh my god. Wow. You know, when we first started this journey together, man, I didn't know how this was gonna go. And I used to sit in a spot like this when I was like 7 years old, man. And I would go down to the radio station with my dad. And I would watch him do this as he interviewed people and he played music. And coming here today, it feels like I just came full circle. And I don't know what to say, man.
I don't know. Bro. No, I teared up a little bit, not gonna lie. Yeah,
I'm so overwhelmed by everything that's happening right now, and I can't thank you guys enough for joining in on us and hearing what we have to say, because I never thought in a million years that I would just interview one of my heroes, man.
real. It's crazy, man. Like we did the thing, man.
Yeah, bro. I'm sorry. I knew it was gonna come. I was like, I'm gonna get emotional here. Thank you guys. Thank you guys once again. That was just a moment for all of us, for you guys. I want to say thank you guys for joining us, for letting us come into your guys' space for a few hours and watch our podcast. I'd like for you guys, after we're done here, to jump into the IOPS podcast. I believe they went live about 40 minutes ago. They're interviewing people that have COVID currently, and they're doing a good story. So please head over there and give them some love, man. We're all about that here. I just want to check my notes really quickly. Next Sunday we'll be interviewing our brother, Jason Chiquita. He has a great story. He was a gang member for about 15 years, high-ranking gang member in Canada. He got out of the life. He's moved on to better things now. He's got a great story. He's a hockey goon now. He's a leader in his community. He's a special guy. So tune in for that next Sunday. We'll share the link on our page. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough for joining us tonight here at Foxing Around. I'm at a loss of words right now because I don't know what to say. I think we're about ready to cancel this out. But that just happened, man. And thank you guys for joining us on this journey. You got anything else, brother?
No, man. I just want to thank everybody, and it's crazy what you can do when you have a nation of people behind you, and when your own people believe in you. And we need more of this. This is what we need. We need one another lifting up each other. And like, if there's nothing positive to say about somebody, then keep it to yourself and just let the positivity flow from others. I'm almost tearing up talking about it, bro, because it's wild. But
I'm crying. I don't care. I want to thank a few people really quickly. Obviously, everyone in our production team: Dustin, Solomon, Xander. There's a few other names. Justin. There's a few other names. Fawn Wood, Tia Wood, for both believing in us and coming on our show so early. It means a lot to us. So if I forgot your Nathan at IOPS, please go over to his show and give him some love. Thank you guys once again for joining us here tonight. I don't want to cry anymore, so I think we're going to let you guys go. But hi, be nice to one another, man. Wear your mask, do your thing, enjoy life right now, man, because 6 weeks ago, me and River were sitting here doing nothing, and now we just interviewed Adam Beach, man. So, yeah, I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I'm rambling now. We should probably let it go. Much love, brother. Thank you for doing this with me, bro.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to let you guys go. Peace.
Peace out. Until next time.